Joining us from the southern Costa Blanca. Good to welcome back Kellie Garrett. How you doing?
Hello, Cal. I'm good, thank you. Thanks for having me back.
So you're normally in the Benihoffer office, but you're talking to us today from Rojales.
That's correct, yes.
And how's the weather been? Because we saw some pretty devastating storms and floods, that sort of part of the country last week.
It's actually been terrible. We've had a lot of rain, but today is glorious. It's about 21 degrees today, and there's blue skies, sunshine. So it's good.
Back to our normal fare then,
Yes,
thank goodness.
exactly.
Right, so Jennifer Cunningham Insurance, very busy with funeral plans and making funerals stress-free for expats. So why is it important then that, especially for expats, to plan funerals in advance here?
I mean, it is a very sensitive subject, of course, but it is something that needs to be arranged very quickly here, normally in Spain. Often funerals take place within 24 to 48 hours. And of course, this can be quite overwhelming for grieving families, especially if they're unfamiliar with the process. So by planning ahead, individuals can ensure their wishes are met, and they're avoiding, price rises, and they're locking in a funeral or a service at today's prices, and they're just avoiding higher risk. They're just avoiding higher costs in the future. So it is quite important.
It is a delicate subject, and it is one of those things like pensions where people perhaps think, oh, it's okay, I'll get it done at some point. But obviously, as you mentioned, things happen quite quickly here in Spain at that particular sort of juncture. So how much does a funeral cost in Spain, and how do your plans help with that financial planning?
Okay, well, the average funeral today costs around 4,500. So you can imagine in approximately 10 years, it's going to be estimated at around 9,000. And our funeral plans allow us to freeze the cost at today's rate. They can choose to pay in one lump sum, or you can pay a deposit and then you can have interest-free instalments. And once it's paid, that's it. Unlike an insurance plan, where with insurance, you keep paying indefinitely.
That's quite important to point out, I think, for people. What sort of plans do you have then?
There's four main plans. Obviously, they're tailor-made for the individual because everyone wants something different, of course. But we've got a direct cremation, and that's a cheaper plan. That's a simple, low-cost option for an unattended cremation. So that's like a basic cremation for someone that doesn't want any fuss.
And we've seen actually a rise in those sorts of cremations taking place, especially since COVID.
It's very, very popular. And in our office, especially, that's probably the main one that we do provide for our clients. I think a lot of people, they're happy not to make a fuss really now. So, but we've also got another plan that covers all funeral arrangements. That's not giving you a ceremony, but it gives you a lot more. Then there's another plan that is the most comprehensive plan as well, including a ceremony so loved ones can say a proper goodbye, of course. And then you've got another plan, which is the most expensive, and that's a solution for those that want to be repatriated to their home country.
That's quite important, really, isn't it? If you can get all of that kind of sorted out ahead of time, it's going to save a lot of heartache when the inevitable sadly happens.
Yes.
So what does happen when someone passes away then? What does the family have to do?
Well, when you purchase a funeral plan, you're given some documentation. So it's got everything on there. You'll have a plan number. Obviously, the next of kin are listed. And what happens is there's a 24-hour bereavement line. So all they have to do, everything's taken care of. The next of kin will just contact the 24-hour bereavement line. And that includes they'll do everything, including arranging for a funeral director to collect the deceased. That sounds awful, but, it's best to be honest with what the plans cover. And typically that's within 3 hours, but they don't have to worry about anything. Everything will be taken care of.
I mean, that really is actually the peace of mind thing that you're probably if you can sort this out ahead of time, it's just going to be better for everybody, isn't it?
Yeah.
But what about, you mentioned about ways to pay. What if somebody hasn't fully paid for their plan at the time that they pass away?
So if there's a remaining balance on the plan, the family have two options. They can pay the outstanding balance and continue with the plan and the funeral, or they can have a refund minus a €500 cancellation fee.
All right. What about people who say, a number decide that perhaps they want to spend their final years back at home in the UK or in Ireland, say? Is it possible to transfer the plan from Spain back to the UK?
Yes, it is. If someone relocates permanently to the UK or Ireland, their plan will transfer at no extra cost to one of the UK partners who are fully regulated.
All right. What about if somebody thinks that it's a good idea and they're going to listen to this today and go, I'm going to do it, but then a few sort of days or so later think, I might go a different way, or actually maybe I probably feel like I've jumped the gun. How long do people have to sort of cool off with this and before they can, or how long do they have to change their mind?
There is a 14-day cooling off period. And after that, after the 14 days, if you want to cancel, you can cancel, but there will be a €500 cancellation fee.
Do you have to be sure as well about what you want, because somebody might change their mind, initially perhaps go for a cremation, then perhaps the family might feel that they changed their mind later on and wanted a burial. Do you have to commit straight away to this when you buy the plan?
You can upgrade as well if you wanted to upgrade. For example, if you just took out the plan for the cremation only, and then you think, actually, I've spoke to my family about it and they prefer to have a service, you can upgrade. That's not a problem at all. You can change it at any time. You don't have to make that decision right now. That's absolutely fine.
Pretty flexible then.
Yeah.
Okay. And, the amount of paperwork that you tend to seem to need in Spain when the inevitable happens, is everything taken care of on the paperwork front?
Yes. So you'll be given all the documentation, both in Spanish and English, and additionally, you are given the cremation certificate, which allows the ashes to be transported on an aeroplane if necessary, because some people want to take the ashes to the UK, for example.
So you do need that paperwork then to be able to travel with the ashes of your deceased family?
Yes, you do.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not something you want to find out when you're trying to board the plane and realise you don't have it, is it really?
Exactly.
Yeah, okay. And, we have to think about the world that we're living in. Say, for instance, that the company that you're using ceases trading. Are people's money still safe under those circumstances?
Yes, 100%. The funds are completely safe. And the funeral company, they do not hold the money. Instead, it's placed in a separate trust account, ensuring that if the company were to cease trading, then the money remains secure. So that's very important when you're looking at taking out a funeral plan, be it with us or anyone. I would always suggest that the money is kept in a trust fund. That's very important. Like you say, this day and age, you just don't know.
You don't, do you? And what about transferring the plan to another person? If somebody's taken out and then suddenly find, sadly, that they need a plan for somebody else in the family, is that possible?
Yes, it is. So each plan can include up to 2 names, 2 individuals, and the plan will be used for whoever passes first. So, if you've got a husband and wife and they don't really want to take 2 out, they're not really able to do that at the moment. You can have 2 names on the plan, and as I say, whoever passes away, they will have the service, the funeral. So again, it's very flexible in that way, and there's no pressure to have one for both.
That's good to know. So what advice do you have? I mean, Jennifer Cunningham Insurances are dealing with this sort of situation all the time. For us, it's probably the only time that we're probably going to deal with it. So what would you say to people about planning or getting a funeral plan?
Yeah, I mean, as we said at the beginning, it is a very sensitive subject, but it is something that is important because, especially, if you don't speak the language or your loved ones, that they may be coming from the UK, so they don't really know how the Spanish system works. And also, if you do have people coming from different locations, different countries, you have to be aware that here in Spain, they do normally carry out their funerals very quickly. So, this sort of gives you a little bit more time, a bit of breathing space. And the fact that it's just one phone call and everything is taken care of for you just makes it a lot more simpler when you're grieving and when you've got you've already got so much going on. There's so much upset around you. You're not thinking straight. So it's just better to give that role to somebody else. That's definitely something that I would definitely recommend.
Much better for people who are used to dealing with that sort of situation, and can deal with it calmly and I suppose without the emotion that everybody feels at that particular time. It is hard, when you lose a loved one, and trying to arrange everything and sort everything out. If you know that that's taken care of, really is peace of mind. So, Kellie, where can people learn more about the plan or sign up for it?
Well, you can look on our website, which is www.jennifercunningham.net. And all of our offices are on the website. So depending on where you live, we've got a lot of offices. We've got 4 here in the Costa Blanca South. We've got 2 in the Costa Blanca North, and of course 1 in Lanzarote, as I said before. So it's and Murcia. Sorry, we've got 1 in Murcia as well. Mustn't forget our ladies in Los Alcázares. So you can go to the designated office. You can go in face to face. You can call us on the telephone. You can send us a WhatsApp message. We're happy to help you, give you any advice that you need. There's never any pressure. There's no obligation. So you can do that, or you can go to our Facebook pages. We've got individual Facebook pages for each office. And of course, we've got the Google Business accounts as well. So you can go on there, and we've got some wonderful reviews, and you can see for yourself. Maybe you're already a customer and you already know that. So that, you might already have policies with us, so you're familiar with that.
Lots of information then at jennifercunningham.net or 965 795 372 is the number, 965 795 372. Of course, you can always get in touch with us here at Bay Radio International, and we can pass on the details as well.